right, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Association for the Study of Songun Politics of America, ASSPA. So let's explain. So this is the first meeting of the ASSPA. So what is the ASSPA? Basically, there exists the Korean Friendship Association, and then there also exists another international, which is the International, oh, we didn't write it here, did we? It's called the International Central Committee for the Study of Songun, ICCSS. And so the KFA is its own organization. The Juche Idea Study Groups is actually its own organization, which is tied to the KASS, Korean Association of Social Sciences. And then there is actually the International Central Committee for Songun Study, which is tied to this thing here. There's an organization, this one here, the Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il Foundation, which maintains like this building and the properties and things of this nature, like they maintain it. Pretty cool. Oh, look, they have it in English. The great comrades Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il will always live in the hearts of humankind. So now everybody knows what Songun study is, but basically they put on a meeting every year. So you get to go to Mount Paektu. Well, here's the website. Hopefully you can see this here. So it's called the Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il Foundation. And as you can see, here's one of the buildings. There's lots of buildings like this in the DPRK, but this is the main one. I think it's called the Kumsaman Palace of the Sun. I think that's the name of it. But they maintain everything, like the property, all of this stuff. And the International Central Committee for Study of Songun is its own thing, separate from the Korean Friendship Association, and separate from the Juche Idea Study Group, which is, you know, the DPRK has been around for a long time. So there's Juche Idea Study Groups in many countries, especially ones outside of US influence, like, you know, I don't know, Egypt, Bangladesh. The head of the Juche Idea Study Group, they have some kind of international. The head of it is actually a deputy of Morena in Mexico. And I never reached out to him previously because we were so associated with the PCM. It would have just caused problems because they are against all of that. But now you know. And so the Songun study, they hold these things called, so the Korean Committee for Solidarity with the World People, and they hold these events called the Praise to the Great Persons of Mount Paektu. And so they have this big meeting in Korea, and then you get to go to Mount Paektu afterwards.
조선인민과의 연대성 집회가 2017년 백두산 위인 칭송대회 국제준비위원회와 세계인민들과의 연대성 조선위원회의 공동명의로 16일 인민문화궁전에서 진행되었습니다. 집회에는 세계인민들과의 연대성 조선위원회 위원장인 김종숙 대문화연락위원회 위원장, 세계인민들과의 연대성 조선위원회, 조선평화옹호 전국민족위원회, 조선민주법률가협회를 비롯한 사회단체 일꾼들, 평양시내 근로자들이 참가했습니다. 헬미 엘 하디디 아시아 아프리카 인민단결기구 위원장을 비롯한 2017년 백두산 위인 칭송대회 국제준비위원회 공동위원장들과 여러 나라의 정당, 조선인민과의 친선 및 연대성 단체 인사들, 국제 반제 민주단체의 대표들이 여기에 참가했습니다. 집회에서는 연설들이 있었습니다. 연설자들은 인류 사상사의 최고봉을 이루는 영생불멸의 주체 사상을 창시하시고 심화 발전시키시었으며 백숭의 선군혁명 용도로 조선을 자주 자립 자위의 사회주의 국가로 전변시키신 위대한 수령 김일성 동지와 위대한 용도자 김종일 동지를 세계 정치의 원로 백두산 장군으로 높이 칭송했습니다. 연설자들은 사상과 용도 풍모에서 위대한
So there's that, and then they actually go to the mountain.
주체혁명 위협, 인류 차조 위협 수행에 불멸의 공헌을 하신 백두산 절세위인들에 대한 만민의 다음없는 흠모의 마음이 날이 갈수록 더 강렬해지는 속에 제5차 백두산 위인 칭송 국제축전이 시작되었습니다. 14일 형룡의 성산 백두산정에서 백두산 태양맞이 모임이 진행되었습니다. 모임 참가자들은 주체혁명의 억센 뿌리가 내리고 김일성 민족 김종일 조선의 창창한 미래가 밝아온 조정의 산, 그 언제나 오르고 싶던 태양의 산의 장엄한 위용 앞에 격정을 금치 못했습니다. 백두산 태양맞이 모임에는 2017년 백두산 위인칭송대회 국제준비위원회 명예위원장인 조선노동당 중앙위원회 부위원장 김기남 동지와 관계부문 일꾼들이 참가했습니다. 2017년 백두산 위인칭송대회 국제준비위원회 공동위원장들과 여러 나라와 지역 국제민주단체의 대표단 대표들, 각계 인사들과 주조 여러 나라 외교대표부 성원들이 여기에 참가했습니다. 모임에서는 내일 피츠게랄드 2017년 백두산 위인칭송대회 오세안지역준비위원회 공동위원장이 2017년 백두산 선언을 낭독했습니다. 그는 선언에서 각국의 진보정당, 조선인민과의 친선 및 연대성 단체, 국제민주단체 대표들과 사회정치 활동가들이 인류 차주 위협의 시원이 열리고 최후 승리의 료명이 밝아오는 백두산에서 2017년 백두산 선언을 발표한다고 지적하고 역사의 체험과 오늘의 현실이 부여한 중대한 의무를 자각하고 있는 우리들은 인류 차주 위협이 반드시 실현될 21세기의 광명한 앞날을 명성가 김종훈 장군 찬가를 목청껏 합창하며 만세의 함성을 터쳤습니다. 2017년 백두산 위인칭송대회
I see some hands put up, and then I'll go back to talking. Go ahead, Chandler.
Is North Korea multiracial, like anyway? Like I'm just curious about like their demographics.
Well, it's pretty much Koreans. I mean, there's Russians. There's even an American there who crossed the border and had children. And so there's like these white, tall North Americans who only grew up speaking Korean. Like, no joke.
I heard about like American defectors too. That like stayed
they had children.
there.
They had children that grew up there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But the people that you saw, it's because the DPRK has solidarity all over the world. Alex Dillard would love this, and perhaps Joe as well. The DPRK is really good, like in Africa, Latin America, Asia. So
I just noticed some of them have different color skin tones. So like some of them were darker than the others. I was just wondering if there was like like a subgroup or something.
No, but there are, many millions.
Yeah.
There's like 21 and 22 million Koreans. So
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks. So next we have the update on the KFA International meeting in Spain. We can go to both Joe and Alex. So Joe, how have the preparations gone?
It's pretty much all finished at this point. We have the hotel selected and we have the tickets purchased. So yeah, we're just looking forward to going there. It's going to be two weeks or so at this point.
Oh, awesome. So it's going to be like in 2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning part of that. Where are y'all going?
We'll be going to Tarragona, Spain, which is where KFA Spain is located, and Chris will show you the Pyongyang Cafe.
Yeah. So what is the group that, like, we're meeting right now? What is this considered? Like the group of us.
Well, this is actually called the ASSPA, Association for Study of Songun Politics of America. It's an organization underneath the Korean Friendship Association, USA, the DPRK Solidarity Group. And this is one of the places the commerce will be visiting. They actually have a cafe as well.
In Spain.
There's Mana. He's from Thailand. So they sell material, you see. They sell everything, posters, they even sell like beer, they sell food.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Directly from the
Corea del Norte es la gran desconocida del mundo, los medios de comunicación continuamente manipulan la información y mienten sobre ella, creen, la mayoría de las personas de hecho que vienen aquí, creen que no es posible ni siquiera visitar el país como turista. Pues queremos romper con todos esos mitos, con esa manipulación de la información.
El viaje es muy estructurado, muy organizado, siempre acompañado por el personal de turismo de la nación, pero por otro lado, en el lado opuesto, encontramos que es una de las naciones que ofrece más garantías y estándares de seguridad.
And so Joe was given a report, and if they're ready to go, because they're all ready to go, they have the hotel, they have the flight, and it's going to be in like 2 weeks' time. So it's going to be like what, the 12th and 13th, is that right?
Yeah, we'll be arriving there on the 11th, and then the main event's on the 12th.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And, but the DPRK stuff just blows everything out of the water. You're going to have a lot of fun. And by the way, I think they're going to be really happy to have you both, Alex and Joe, be there, because I think everybody here remembers the KFA had that NATO spy in it, the guy from Denmark. Actually, when I searched for this Pyongyang Cafe, look at this, one of this guy's videos, this thing here. It says made by Ulrich Larsen. That's the NATO spy. He's like some kind of NATO officer from Denmark. Anyway, this is him. Oh yeah, you see, there it is.
Good evening, everybody. So happy to see so many in here tonight. My name is Ulrich Larsen. More than a decade ago, everything in my life crashed when I was hospitalized with an incurable disease, making me unable to continue working as a chef. Without my wife and family knowing, I decided to begin a 10-year undercover operation to infiltrate the world's most brutal regime. Let me teach you about infiltrating North Korea.
When I say what's common is common, and what ain't, ain't. If something stands out, it stands out for a reason.
When we came to North Korea, they shown us a lot of things what normal people will see in North Korea. And I said to Mr. Kang, listen, Mr. Kang, in 96 hours, I will leave again. Then your opportunity to make business with him could probably be gone.
Impulse, very powerful impulse to the drone, and then drone will be drone like that.
We are here undercover, pretending we want to buy weapons. The next morning, we were asked to be ready. And they took us out in a car and they drove us out in Pyongyang. They take us out to the slum area. And they said, you need to go down in this basement. In there, nobody can hear you. I was literally expecting the sound.
Anyways, you probably, no one ever heard of his documentary. You know why? It's, when you watch it, it's so one-sided. It's like if I was recording you right now and I said, Joe, let's go bomb the Sacramento State Building. And then you're like, bomb the Sacramento State Building. And then that's the part they show. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so bad. That's why no one, I think, has heard of it, except for us. The whole thing's ridiculous. But long story short, the KFA, this happened to the KFA. And then also COVID happened. So this is actually, really, this is the first KFA meeting they're having, like a physical one, because of COVID and because of this thing. So they're going to be very happy to have you all. So now we'll go to the Lucas Rubio, what is Songun? We're going to watch this. pause halfway, then do discussion.
Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Bom, meu nome é Lucas Rubio, sou presidente do Centro de Estudos da Política Songun no Brasil, que você já vai entender o que significa, e hoje eu estou aqui para falar exatamente sobre a política Songun da Coreia do Norte. Fala-se muito desse nome às vezes, porém não se conhece tão bem assim. Bom, o que seria então a política Songun da República Popular Democrática da Coreia? Para a gente entender o que significa isso, a gente tem que ver o que significa exatamente o nome política Songun, entender a história por trás disso, quais as necessidades práticas para ter se implantado algo dessa magnitude e quais são as consequências, né, reais na sociedade norte-coreana e fora da própria Coreia do Norte, para a gente entender como funciona, né, a cabeça dos norte-coreanos para acharem plausível aplicar e praticar a chamada política Songun. Bom, em coreano, Songun significa literalmente linha militar. Algumas outras traduções vão falar em algo como política militar. A política Songun é uma diretriz, é uma política prática, né, ideológica, econômica e militar que vai perpetrar todas as práticas do país. Significa dar, em poucas palavras, significa dar grande importância aos assuntos militares do país. Ou seja, concentrar as atenções do Estado e as ações, né, do Estado e do governo no exército. Agora, quais são as razões históricas disso? Se a gente for parar para pensar, a Coreia do Norte, né, a República Popular Democrática da Coreia, tem toda uma história militar. Primeiro, o país, lá no início do século passado, e no ano de 1910, foi invadido pelo Japão, e a única resistência efetiva que surgiu contra a ocupação japonesa da Coreia, ocupação essa que era muito brutal e sanguinária, né, foi justamente uma resistência armada, guerrilheira, né, que foi fundada por Kim Il-sung, que vai ser também o fundador do país e o fundador da chamada ideia Juche, que é o socialismo ao estilo coreano. Bom, em 1945, as tropas do Exército Popular Revolucionário da Coreia, comandada por esse Kim Il-sung, vão libertar o país da ocupação do Japão. Mas acontece que no mesmo ano de 45, os Estados Unidos vão invadir e ocupar a metade sul da Península Coreana, que vai acabar resultando na criação de dois diferentes estados da Coreia. A República Popular Democrática da Coreia, no norte, socialista, e a República da Coreia, capitalista, no sul, sob intenso, né, controle do governo norte-americano, da chamada administração militar americana para a Coreia. Quando você tem a eclosão da Guerra da Coreia em 1950, você vai ter novamente o exército como a força de atuação principal para a manutenção do Estado da Coreia do Norte, do governo, né, revolucionário da Coreia do Norte. E esse exército, né, consegue, acumulando ali grande contribuição e cooperação, né, não somente dos civis coreanos, como também da China, que vai enviar auxílio, vai ser esse exército que vai forçar os Estados Unidos, em 1953, a assinarem o armistício da Guerra da Coreia. Ou seja, dois grandes momentos históricos e duas grandes vitórias do governo norte-coreano contra forças externas muito fortes, o Japão em 1945 e os Estados Unidos em 1953, vão ser vitórias que foram alcançadas com o exército, com as atenções do Estado firmadas sobre o exército. Acontece que a Coreia, né, do Norte, quando chega nos anos 90, passa por uma aguda crise econômica, né, política e geopolítica por conta do fim da União Soviética e dos países do leste europeu, que constituíam aí parte, né, de todo o seu comércio internacional e faziam com que a vida no país acontecesse de forma, a dinâmica econômica, né, tanto interna quanto externa da Coreia do Norte pudesse acontecer porque a comercialização acontecia com os países socialistas. De um dia para o outro, todos aqueles países do leste europeu e a própria União Soviética desapareceram. Então, a economia do país sofreu um baque muito grande, vai ter um período de grandes problemas econômicos aí que vai se chamar árdua marcha, né? Os norte-coreanos vão chamar de árdua marcha, e nesse período de dificuldade econômica vai ser o período em que os Estados Unidos vão intensificar o seu cerco militar contra a Coreia do Norte, porque vale lembrar que a Coreia do Sul está hoje em dia ocupada, né, por milhares de tropas norte-americanas, além de armamentos supermodernos dos Estados Unidos. Inclusive, na época, nos anos 90, havia armamentos nucleares dos Estados Unidos ali na Coreia do Sul, posicionados na Coreia do Sul e no Japão, posicionados contra a Coreia do Norte. Então, se vendo muito ameaçada pelos Estados Unidos, que se aproximavam tentando sufocar o país militarmente e também economicamente, porque os Estados Unidos vão impor à Coreia do Norte bloqueios e sanções econômicas, assim como acontece com Cuba, ou com o Irã, ou com a Venezuela, né? Isso também vai acontecer com a Coreia do Norte. Então, os norte-coreanos vão se sentir extremamente pressionados e acuados. E aí, o Kim Jong-il, que era o líder do país na época, ele vai fazer uma leitura histórica. Como foi que nós alcançamos vitórias em momentos que pareciam momentos em que estávamos realmente encurralados? Ora, colocando nossas forças, nossas atenções no exército. Então, nos anos 90, como forma de garantir a soberania territorial e governamental da Coreia do Norte, vai acontecer um profundo investimento no exército, com a adoção da chamada ideia Songun, ou política.
That's a good point to go through the discussion now. I'll go through everybody now, whether you raise your hand or not. Tyler, go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious. Maybe it'll get into it later on because it looks like we're just getting into Songun in the video. But is military service mandatory for people in DPRK?
Yes and no. I think it depends on your physique or your state. You know, there's some people like in a wheelchair, for example, but they still let people participate in things. I've seen they even had a shooting competition of disabled people, like people in wheelchairs, people missing limbs, and they still went out there and got to participate. So yeah, it is everybody serves pretty much. Almost everybody serves. Yes, Joe?
Yeah, I heard that during the arduous March period, the U.S., besides the actual sanctions and blockades, did sort of direct stuff on the ground to exacerbate the famine, stuff like that. Like I remember hearing people were given bags of rice in exchange for cowtails, something like that, basically making them kill their own livestock. Do you know if there's any sort of truth to this, or what sort of stuff the US was doing on the ground to make it worse?
Gosh, that's intriguing. You'll have to ask Dermot Hudson that, or anybody when you go to Spain. I don't know, but giving historical reference, which we have from one of the books I think we still publish on New Outlook Publishers, by the way, during the Korean War, biological warfare was used. And they were dropping like these giant, I guess you call like a rice ball, like filled with these insects. And it was like plague. It was plague, which was being dropped. So given that, I have no reason to say not why not. But they'll be able to give you better answers in 2 weeks. Chandler?
The U.S., they also wanted to use nukes multiple times. After Japan, it's like, okay, they already dropped 2 nukes, so what's like 2 or 3 more? And I can't remember the general's name.
MacArthur.
Yeah, and he's got movies made about him, or he's like a hero. He's just a straight up war criminal, honestly.
Yeah, he was an admiral, I think, wasn't he? MacArthur.
I think he was in the army, so he was like a general.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite horrific, really barbaric. There's a museum. We'll have to, when we have a delegation go there, we'll have to visit the museum. There's a museum I'll screen share it, where they document all the crimes, like people getting, you know, brutally tortured, like medieval stuff.
Yeah, I just want to say it's crazy, like the immense, like just disinformation there is about the DPRK. I feel like I just have like a ton to learn about it. Just the other day, one of my coworkers referred to the DPRK as being fascist, which is just like crazy. But that's just the level of like disinformation we're at. And I was just curious, maybe you guys could weigh in, like, what would be the best thing I could like point to people or say in response to that to kind of like show them, you know, like everything we know about the DPRK, everything we're told about it is basically just slander.
Yeah, what is your coworker opposed to communism and socialism?
Yes, but I also believe
Okay.
he doesn't know anything about what it is, and like me kind of explaining something, like he's at least willing to like listen.
Okay, well, basically the answer when people say well, I see Tyler has his hands up, and then I'll answer, but go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say something else, but yeah, I mean, the people who are calling DPRK fascist, I saw there was a book by Madeleine Albright who was involved with the coup in Ukraine, as well as invasions of Iraq and all the Middle Eastern debacle. She was Secretary of State under Obama, I believe. But she wrote a book where she basically likened North Korean socialism to fascism. So I don't think you're going to really get through to a lot of people telling them, no, it's not fascist. You know, they don't know what fascism is. They don't really care to know what fascism is. So I wouldn't worry too much about those people.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'll go through the hands. Chandler?
So I've also heard a lot of people say that Juche isn't Marxism-Leninism. A lot of people on the left nowadays, they say that they abandoned Marxism-Leninism and made Juche like its own ideology, which is false. You know, still Marxism-Leninism. But also, like, how do you like, you know, the elephant in the room is like the hereditary leadership. How do you explain that to people that, you know, don't really, or maybe even me, I really don't really understand it, how that comes into play?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Asian society from way back, Confucianism, even before, is one of dynasties. To them, it's normal. What's going on in South Korea with a Western government is not normal for the Asian tradition. I don't think at all that democracy and bourgeois democracy can take place everywhere. I don't think it could ever work in Russia, for example, ever. The whole history of Russia, if you study it, very different. Stalin was more normal for Russia. And that's all I could say.
It makes sense.
You know, South Korea, the president, just a president ago or whatever, too, was, as you know, they're very corrupt. She was the daughter of the dictator who was assassinated by his like number 2 guy, who was then the next dictator. So the same thing could be said about the South. But the answer that I understand after studying the DPRK is that they take very careful consideration into changes of leadership. They treat it as something very important and very sacred. They don't leave room to fail, to mess up. Talk about the Soviet Union. Look at the changes that went on there. Joe?
Yeah, 2 things for Chandler's question. I was actually watching an interview with Alejandro Caribenos the other day. I think he did with RT. He talked about how within their culture, it's of course much more collectivistic, and there's really an emphasis on this sort of feeling of family. He said that the people in the DPRK, it's like the country is one big family. So I think for us, when we would tend to look skeptically at a family being the leadership and it keeps going through generations, for them, it's much more natural within the context of their culture. And the other thing for Comrade Adams' question, there's a really good documentary. It's called Loyal Citizens of Pyongyang. And it's kind of presented in a way where I think people who aren't communists might be willing to listen to it. It goes into a lot of what we are told from people who are like North Korea defectors, you know, like Yeonmi Park. A lot of it is they're basically coerced to give those sort of narratives from the South Korean state on pain of homelessness or torture or whatever else. And so it kind of pokes holes in a lot of the misinformation people are given. So that's what I'd recommend.
It makes me feel a lot better. That's really the only concern that I really had was the hereditary leadership. But yeah, the defectors, you can poke holes in their stories like crazy. They get paid money and stuff, you know.
Yeah, Stephen, I'm sorry. Well, Stephen, go ahead and then I'll respond to Chandler. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, I just wanted to address the so-called hereditary leadership. From what I understand, the Kims are really kind of a figurehead, although highly respected, of course. The Korean Workers' Party operates like a normal communist party. There's no monarchy or whatever you hear about. And yeah, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, thank you. Before I lose the train of thought, sorry, Adam, then I'll let you go. Actually, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I just remember hearing, like, I don't remember where, but someone was saying, like, next year some of us are gonna take a trip to the DPRK. Is that something I could, like, get on board with, maybe?
Yes, yeah, we want to send a huge delegation. Like, if we could send like 30 to 60 comrades or friends, whatever. And obviously we're not going to have Ulrich Larsons. We're not going to have spies go with us, at least that we can prove anyway. Yeah, we want to send like 30, 50 people. If we can pull that off, we want to do that. Yeah. I mean, maybe 60 is too many, but maybe it isn't. But yeah, if we could send like 30, that'd be awesome. Yeah. And like, it'll be like a week-long thing or something, and they'll take us around. Like, they always go to the place where Kim Jong-il was born. It's like the something secret camp, Myeongdong Day. I don't know. There's like certain places they always take people to. But for us, it would be like super awesome. Like, yeah, we most definitely are going to organize a delegation. That's why we're sending comrades to Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be like the most powerful thing I could like tell people I know is like, yo, I've been there. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and this whole this thing from our country blocking citizens from going there, but these NBA stars can go there. Why do they get to go there? Why does Dennis Rodman get to go there? Yeah, like
he's like best friends that comes on.
Well, he's more of like an envoy of people here.
Yeah,
because he went there more than once. But yeah, Kim Jong-un met with him.
Well, at least he said he's trying to spread understanding. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of good the way they did it.
And Chris Halali from our party has been to the DPRK. I don't know if you know this. He went there before he was with our party a couple years ago. All right, comrades, we just did the discussion there. We'll just finish this up and then we can adjourn. So.
Ele alcança, né, ele alça as posições primeiras das preocupações de gastos e investimentos do Estado. Agora, a política Songun significa uma militarização do país e uma ditadura militar? Não significa. Na verdade, eu costumo utilizar uma expressão que é a seguinte: ocorre na política Songun um transbordamento entre exército e povo. Aqui nos países ocidentais, né, na maioria do mundo, as forças armadas são coisas um pouco que alheias à nossa realidade. Na verdade, quando elas existem, elas ficam confinadas nos seus quartéis ou servem apenas para atuar em conflitos localizados, né? Aqui no Brasil isso é muito comum para a gente aqui que tem as regiões mais carentes, onde o exército, por exemplo, sempre atua em forças operacionais nas favelas, né, por exemplo. Lá na Coreia do Norte, você vai ter um transbordamento do exército para a participação da vida civil da sociedade, e o contrário também acontece. Por exemplo, o Estado vai colocar os militares para trabalharem na construção socialista diretamente. Então o exército sai dos quartéis e vai tomar parte da vida econômica das pessoas. Vai construir, reconstruir as cidades que haviam sido destruídas com as tragédias econômicas e geográficas dos anos 90. Vai lá trabalhar na construção de fábricas, Os militares vão assumir postos na sociedade civil, em fábricas, em fazendas, em usinas hidrelétricas, e a sociedade civil vai ser militarmente preparada para reagir a uma invasão dos Estados Unidos. Você vai ter um treinamento militar da sociedade para saber como reagir caso os Estados Unidos invadissem, e aqui não estamos falando de hipóteses assim do mundo das ideias. Na época, e até hoje, na verdade, a ideia de uma invasão dos Estados Unidos, hoje menos, mas a ideia de uma invasão dos Estados Unidos na Coreia do Norte, ela era muito forte lá nos anos 90. E aí o que acontece? Vai ter uma preparação de toda a sociedade, uma preparação militar de toda a sociedade para que as pessoas saibam a resistir, saibam como reagir caso os Estados Unidos invadissem a Coreia do Norte. E o que acontece? Quais vão ser as consequências? Um dos pontos principais da política Songun, aqui já para finalizar isso, é colocar a Coreia do Norte em um papel de prestígio internacional, e como uma potência militar. Porém, eles analisaram que para que se alcançasse um status de potência militar, a Coreia do Norte não tinha capacidade de fazer frente aos Estados Unidos por questões óbvias. Numericamente, isso é muito difícil, afinal de contas, olha a população norte-americana e olha a população norte-coreana, são coisas muito diferentes. Economicamente também seria muito inviável, por exemplo, modernizar todo o exército com novos tanques ou aviões ou porta-aviões, que são equipamentos muito caros para se criar, demora-se muito tempo para fazer isso e também é muito caro para manter. E o que a Coreia do Norte percebeu? Que possuir armas nucleares era um ótimo meio não de alcançar uma força militar, mas sim de alcançar um objetivo político, porque ela percebeu que todos os países que possuíam armas nucleares eram respeitados internacionalmente e não sofriam ataques frontais. Então a Coreia do Norte vai, por meio da política de valorização do exército, que você aprendeu aqui nesse vídeo, que significa Songun, vai buscar produzir armas nucleares como um meio de autodefesa e de dissuasão nuclear, ou seja, alcançar um status de equilíbrio com os Estados Unidos. Eles entendem que, ok, os Estados Unidos podem bombardear nosso país e simplesmente vaporizar tudo que existe, porém, nós também conseguimos alcançar um poder equilibrado, equiparado, porque nós somos capazes de lançar armas nucleares nos Estados Unidos e causar também pesadas baixas ao nosso inimigo. E a Coreia do Norte, hoje, por meio da política de valorização do exército, por meio de pesquisa científica, valorizando os meios militares, conseguiu alcançar o manejo de armas de destruição em massa como bomba H de hidrogênio e mísseis intercontinentais que alcançam qualquer ponto do planeta. É um país que detém isso, embora seja um país muito pequeno, com um poder econômico muito abaixo dos seus vizinhos, e com um território bem pequeno. Coreia do Norte é um país que tem todos os problemas para não ser um país muito forte, mas que conseguiu fazer isso por meio de modernos armamentos nucleares, que não servem para atacar o inimigo, mas sim para impedir que o inimigo pense em alguma ação hostil contra o país. E para citar, finalizando aqui, a política Songun também trouxe como consequência uma melhora da vida econômica do país, com o aumento da força de trabalho, com a participação do exército diretamente na economia e também com a geração de empregos muito grande dentro do exército, quando houve o grande objetivo de tornar toda a sociedade preparada para uma guerra. Isso aumentou muito as capacidades do exército por meio de uma coisa chamada linha de desenvolvimento simultâneo. Desenvolve-se ao mesmo tempo, em sincronia, as forças nucleares, porém, as forças militares, porém, ao mesmo tempo, também as forças econômicas, para melhorar a vida das pessoas e sair da crise dos anos 90, coisa que a Coreia do Norte já conseguiu. Então, Songun, valorização dos aspectos militares do país, né, colocar o exército como vanguarda revolucionária justamente porque o exército é a instituição, é o organismo que pode salvaguardar a soberania nacional do país e também participar da economia. Bom, é isso que eu tinha para falar sobre política Songun da Coreia. Junto deste vídeo, eu estou deixando aqui um link muito interessante de um livro que explica de maneira muito mais detalhada e histórica tudo isso que eu disse aqui para vocês de maneira bem resumida. Espero que vocês tenham gostado e muito obrigado.
Okay, so yeah, that's 10-minute description of what is Songun. So now we will do a round robin and then we'll end the meeting out. So any final comments? I know that Kayla, I think you did speak. Did you have any comments on Lucas Rubio's video?
Sure, yeah. I just appreciated the difference between Juche and Songun and how they intersect and how there are also the differences of it. So I appreciated that. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely should get the word out. As the comments I mentioned, in this country, goes to show what's really going on behind the scenes from the left, not even from the right. We have the left wing is saying that the DPRK is not socialist, that the DPRK is not Marxist-Leninist. We'll with the Juche idea study groups, we'll go into those texts. They do study Marxism-Leninism in the DPRK, and Juche has a lot to say about Marxism-Leninism. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I actually learned something today. All right.
I've never heard a Songun explained that well. Actually, that was like a really good explanation. And notice he said he didn't say if the United States invades, he said when the United States invades.
Yeah.
Like they plan for it.
Cool. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. Well, you have a good night, and we'll see you all.